Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies. And we know they are really groovy.
Two guys and a gal. I'm the gal. Thank you, Diane Coll, for that amazing theme song. So awesome. And as we know, Diane Coll is an amazing singer, songwriter, musician. She does so many of our themes here at Cosmos Creative Television. We are so grateful. Now, everybody has been talking to me about this show all week long, ever since they found out that the two guys are going to be talking about Jack Black. Everybody loves Jack Black. He is world famous. There's not a continent on earth that is not still obsessed with Jack Black. He's a musician. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He has a lot of range. He's someone that is truly beloved. I've never heard anyone say anything negative about Jack Black. We love him. And so tonight, your hosts and creators and producers, Manny Zamora and Rory Penland, are here, and they're going to break down their favorite Jack Black movies of all time, why they loved them, and then they're going to give some honorable mentions of the ones that didn't quite rise to their top 5. And I have my opinions too, so I'll be in and out. But everybody, I want to introduce your creator and co-host, Manny Zamora, and his co-host, Rory Penland.
Thank you. You're a black square yourself.
Exactly. We don't see you.
Oh no, I don't know
it's
why.
Renee Black.
It's Renee Black.
I'm Renee Black, so I was
Renee
like
Black
that the whole
block.
time, huh? Oh darn it!
You are not on screen.
Well, it's the new, it's the new computer, so maybe I just have to. I will deal with it
The
behind
new
the
computer.
Scenes. You guys get started. Well, how about this? Does this fix it?
Well, we saw your little picture there for a minute.
Maybe for a second.
Yeah,
there you go. We got you. Now it's a picture.
And you're gone again.
It's just the picture, though. But it's just the picture.
Yes.
Well, hold on a second now. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys.
No problem.
I just want to know. Do you see my hand?
That's a hand.
We see a hand, a giant hand, attacking the view screen.
Now do you see
wrapping
me?
the Enterprise.
I see a giant hand. Yes.
Yep. There you are. Yay.
Do you see me?
Yes.
We see you.
All right. Let's.
You're wearing a red
hair hat.
You see the red hair hat?
It's not orange. It's red.
It is.
No, it's definitely red. Okay. Do we want to start the show over again, or do you want to just go from here?
No.
Now we can go from here. We're fine.
Go from here. We're rocking and rolling.
Rocking it. Well, of course we're rocking and rolling because we're talking about Jack Black, who I think of rock and roll. I think of Tenacious D. I think of Tenacious D.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I almost put that one on my list. The pick of destiny.
Pick of destiny.
The pick of destiny, which ruled the airwaves for about 3 years straight. Yes, he made a lot of money off of Tenacious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
amazing.
Good.
Yeah. Manny, do you want to do a lead-in about Jack Black? Your impressions of Jack Black?
Sure.
Right.
Jack Black is an awesome comedian. He's a musician, as we said, with his band Tenacious D. He is he's 53 years old now. So and he's got the beard, kind of like me, I'm doing my Jack Black impression here. Or he's doing a Manny impression. I don't know. But
I think you're doing a Jack Black impression.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
What's up, guys?
So, hello, Pan.
Hey, Pam.
Well, we're glad that you're here. You are a part of it now. So I'm going to just go straight into it and say that my number one pick is School of Rock.
Yeah, same here. There's no doubt.
School of Rock is not only one of my favorite Jack Black movies, but just one of my favorite movies, period.
Yeah. Agreed.
Great performance from Black. Great performances from the kids, from Joan Cusack, who plays the principal of this very elite prep school that he winds up at, and of course a killer soundtrack, man. Just some great rock and roll. I mean, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. I mean,
Well, and a
name
wonderful
checks all.
message too. A wonderful
And
message about
Yeah.
education and what it could be like, and
exactly,
you know.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, exactly. That's the important thing is, he is a sort of pretend substitute teacher who, through some plot manipulations, winds up at the school. And he winds up with this class of kind of, you know, kids who are, I mean, they're good kids, but, it's very upper class, very, rich parents and so on. And they want
Mhm.
the best education for them and all that stuff. But they don't know anything about real life. They don't know anything about rock and roll, for one thing. And so through music, he teaches them how to be themselves and how to express themselves. And and so it becomes a story about becoming, you know, not so much who they wanted to be, but to realize that there are other possibilities out there than what they've been told.
Well, and it's as much a journey for him, his character in the movie too. I mean, he
Exactly.
starts out kind of this lazy guy, and it turns out that he finds what he loves doing.
Right, yeah.
And,
He's
and
just
he really, for me, it was a lot of shades of Dead Poet Society. I know it was a little bit
right,
sillier than that, of course, a little bit more over the top. But this whole idea of breaking free, you have this elite school, these children that are kind of repressed, and they've been told this is the path you have to walk. And here's this teacher having them break out of that mold and really embrace their passion, their emotions, their soul, and getting into that rock spirit. And it meant a lot to me. I think it's an incredible movie in that way. That's why I'm wearing this actual fur thing. When I was a teenager in a punk band, I used to wear this exact little fur thing. So I brought it out. It's the first time I've worn it in 20.
and it still fits.
It still fits. Yeah.
There you go.
What are the chances? I could
What are
actually.
the odds? That's
Oh,
awesome.
but this is in honor of Jack Black, and
Yeah,
he really was trying to tell the kids, the rock and roll spirit,
and
embrace it.
yeah, and one of the things that I really love about the movie is the kids. The kids, they didn't over sentimentalize them. They didn't,
No.
there's nothing maudlin about them. I mean, we really don't get to see a lot of their backstory or a lot of their outside the school, but that's not what the movie's about, and you really don't need to see it. You get
No.
enough of it, little hints of it throughout the school, kind of like another movie that it reminds me of is a little bit of The Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
And
I get that.
the school and the kids fortunately are not obnoxious. Because a lot of times kids in movies like this are either really snotty or they're really obnoxious. And
Rory
these kids
loves
are neither of
Rory
them.
loves children actors. He loves children actors. He goes crazy with his impressions. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, especially
Do it, Rory. Do it.
especially in kaiju movies,
Yeah.
but or Gamera movies. But
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
yeah, I think that.
Gamera's the lover of all children. He's the guardian of all children.
Exactly.
I think the problem is that they dub them with adult voices doing kids' voices.
Exactly. Just like that. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, look, it's spectacular.
And at the beginning of the movie, there's one little girl named Summer, who you think, oh no, she's going to be the one. She's going to be the snotty one. She's going to be the one who rats everybody out and just makes trouble. And she turns out not to. I mean, she actually turns out to be really sweet and really interesting, and becomes the manager of the band. He puts her in the position of being manager. And that's the other thing that's so great is that he treats these kids as almost like adults. He doesn't treat them as kids.
I was just going to say that. I was just going
Yeah.
to say that because I know Dennis Tardon, he always says that too, that he treats kids like they're adults. I think that was why it worked so well. If they had those bratty kids that were being very kiddish and then the teacher was catering to that, talking down to them, you can't get rock and roll out of that. The reason why it feels authentically rock and roll is because there he is. He's engaging with them as if they're actually in his rock band and they
Right.
become his rock band.
Yeah, and not only that, but the kids themselves, the actors, are actual musicians. They were playing their own instruments. They were part of a music school, so
That makes sense.
that was a thing, and
that's
a lot of them are still playing to this day. There's been reunions where the cast reunites, including Jack Black,
I love
and
that.
perform.
Well,
The
they
young
made
man
a
who,
Broadway show out of it too.
yeah, and they've made Andrew Lloyd Webber strikes again, making School of Rock the musical.
Was that Andrew Lloyd Webber that did that? I didn't
Yes.
realize that. Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Funny.
Unfortunately, the young man who plays the drummer in the band has passed away. He
Oh no.
died recently, or a few years ago. But other than that,
So
everybody
great.
else is
It was so
still
great.
out there rocking and rolling and playing music.
Died of a drug overdose. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Rory. Oh my
No.
God.
Terrible.
We'll cut that part.
We may have to, yeah. Yeah, I was going to look
Damn
it
it,
up.
Rory. First, the Sinbad thing. We're going to get everything that's going to take us off there.
Oh,
sorry.
man.
Cut it out.
So, I mean, we already lost the people from Baltimore.
That would be like the
Sherman's
worst
right.
thing, the most terrible thing.
Oh, yes.
Here we go. We got the warning. All right.
Okay, moving on.
Moving along.
Let's move on to number 2. So what's your number 2, since we both have the same number 1?
El Nacho Libre. That's my
Excellent.
number 2.
Excellent. Yeah,
As far as Jack Black goes, I mean, it's like it was catered. I mean, it was made for him. I mean, it's the stuff that he does in the movie is so Jack Black. You know, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of Tenacious D stuff creep into his character, and again, the situation is so as far away from Jack Black as you can get to, which is really funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just really bizarre, and I loved it from minute 1 to minute. And I love the guy that plays his sidekick in that too. I mean, it's so wonderful.
Little skinny guy, yeah. Yeah, and it's such a classic combination of characters. You know, I don't know if you've watched a lot of Mexican cinema or Mexican comedies, but there are teams like that. You know, that evolve from that are very similar to like Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges and like that, and you know, they're combinations of a big guy and a little guy, you know, stuff like that. So they not.
Well,
there was a really nice
Laurel
nod
and Hardy
to that
thing, you know.
yeah. But yeah, great choice. and it's on my list as well, but it's not number 2, but it's on my list, and we'll talk about that one as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, my number 2 is Tropic Thunder.
Okay.
Tropic Thunder.
That's number 4 on my list.
Oh, okay. So
and I'll tell you why, because
okay,
even though Jack Black is part of it, he's really not the largest character in the movie.
Yeah.
And there's, but his scene where he's going through withdrawal is worth. I mean, it's worth a place on my list just for that scene. He's going through drug withdrawal.
Absolutely. And the dialogue is probably not something that we really want to repeat here, even though we've made the adult warning. It gets pretty raunchy. But
we are still reeling from Rory's comment earlier. And this bad fiasco. We cannot go there. I will say, I just wanted to this is a woman thing. Pan had a question. Yes, Jack Black is very attractive. Yes, it's the personality, it's the humor. Women love funny guys. And I think it's also that he's so daring physically, kind of like John Ritter was and Robin Williams. There's something very attractive about a person who just, you know, is who they are and is just bigger than life and willing to physically really take risks. And I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, and we've lost you again, Renee.
Damn it.
I don't know why. He does have
Black,
kind of a John Belushi quality to him as well. Yeah, that physicality and the way he's able to move.
Definitely a great comparison, because you know, you when you have people like Belushi, who's so incredibly talented, and Chris Farley even too.
Chris Farley
and John Candy. You know, I mean, yeah, they are the quintessential sweet, comical, funny guys.
Right.
And again, very talented. And
Yeah.
yeah. I remember that Jack Black, the first thing I saw Jack Black in was an episode of The X-Files,
Yes.
the Lightning Boy
Yes. The
episode.
Lightning Boy. Yeah, with
Yeah.
Giovanni Ribisi. Yeah.
And he started out in films. He was a supporting character in the Jim Carrey film The Cable Guy.
Yes.
And again, too small of a character to make my list, but he just got an honorable mention here that I didn't have on my list.
Yeah.
So,
I have a similar honorable mention as well.
and it was after that I saw that he was doing Tenacious D and other things.
Right.
Then of course School of Rock came and changed his entire career.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Tropic Thunder, not a big role. It's not a starring role. He's part of an ensemble, but his part as this sort of as a comedic actor, playing a comedic actor, kind of a nod to a little bit to to somebody else.
Okay.
To Eddie Murphy, and his
okay.
the way he does all these multiple characters and all that stuff.
Now you talking about the Robert Downey Jr. character?
No. Robert Downey Jr. Plays
Because he was actually poking fun at Russell Crowe,
right?
And again, there's a lot of kind of Eddie Murphy to that character.
Well, I meant Eddie Murphy, like in was it The Cranks? Or we played multiple characters in one movie.
The Clumps.
Clumps, thank you. The Clumps.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they were.
Nutty Professor.
Yeah, that's kind of what they were satirizing a little bit because his character
and Coming to America.
That basically, it's one long fart joke. In the movies that he does, Jack Black's character, not Jack Black himself. Yeah, and Downey Jr. plays a Russell Crowe, like, who takes this role very, very seriously. In fact, he tells somebody he doesn't break character until the DVD commentary,
Right.
and so he does the movie in blackface, which has caused a little bit of controversy. But
that's the character.
But that's the character, and I think that's,
yeah.
That's
they got away with it because that's the character, and again, they show him
exactly.
as the Russell Crowe Australian character,
right?
As well.
Yeah, he even has the.
And
I love the opening scenes that have the trailers for fake movies and what he's in, with Tobey Maguire as the monks and all that stuff. It's a very, very funny movie, and Black is just very funny in it, and that's why I just felt like that was my number 2.
Very, very funny movie.
Yeah. So my number 3 movie is Nacho Libre.
Okay.
And I love this movie primarily because
I think we need to give Ben Stiller a nod for that movie Tropic Thunder as well, because
and
it's
Ben Stiller, well, of course, Ben Stiller, yes, can't forget him as well as the kind of Tom Cruise-ish character as well. And speaking of Tom Cruise, of course, his performance in the movie, his very surprising performance in the movie, and they're all the makeup and stuff as the producer.
If we ever do a Tom Cruise episode, that movie's going to make an honorable mention list. Just for that little character that he did.
Yeah. But so Nacho Libre for me is as a Latino, as a Hispanic, even though some people might say, well, it's cultural appropriation, it's this and that, it's mocking, but I don't see it that way. I see it as a pretty loving homage to wrestling, to Mexican to Lucha Libre, which is hence the title, and there's an affection there, and you have the wrestler, the masked wrestler, who is obviously modeled after a famous Mexican wrestler named El Santo, which means the saint.
Yes.
And
with the mask.
With the mask, yes, and
kind of like the Purple Terror.
Exactly, yeah, and also just the kind, almost the Rocky story of this sort of nobody going up against a superstar and having their exhibition match or whatever, and the love story between him, who is the monk, and the pretty nun, and it's just a good movie. It's just a fun,
It's silly.
it's silly movie, but it has, but you can tell that it has a lot of heart to it, and
And
that to
honestly,
me,
I think that I don't think anybody else could have pulled that off.
yes. Sandy D just posted. Sometimes when a man is alone in his room, he likes to wear tights, stretchy pants. Yeah, that's one of the great lines in the movie. So yeah,
But
so
yeah, I don't
that's
think anybody else could have pulled that film off.
no. Anybody else, it would have been.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that
his
was
heart, and
it was
you could, like you said, you could see his heart. His he put his heart and soul into it. And,
yeah. It was
yeah.
tailor made for Black, I think.
Yeah.
Can you, Manny, can you, for people who are not familiar with that type of wrestling, can you give us a little bit of a back story to what that means and to why? Because like you talked about a little bit, like the cultural connection that you had to that. And there's just a lot of people that aren't familiar with it.
All right. Well, lucha libre literally translates as free wrestling, and it's like it's wrestling. It's like WWA or WWE or that sort of thing. It's very, but
Backyard table
there's
wrestling.
there's a purity about it, and wrestlers in Mexico. I don't know about now, but when I was growing up, wrestlers in Mexico were the superheroes of the day. I mentioned El Santo and Blue Demon, and there's a channel called El Rey run by director Robert Rodriguez rather, and they had a show called Lucha Libre or Lucha Underground, and it was basically he brought Mexican wrestling to the U.S. and had actual Mexican wrestlers who had were famous in Mexico and brought them to the U.S. and mixed in former WWE people and other American wrestler franchises into the ring and let them duke it out. And there's this whole there's a narrative behind the wrestling matches, and you have the heroes and you have the bad guys who are the heels, and it's just like I said, it's wrestling is almost next to football or soccer, as you Americans call it.
David made a comment that he thinks that WWF actually stemmed from that. Do you agree with that? I think Mexican wrestling did come first, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's more traditional.
It's Mexican wrestling and both American, Mexican wrestling and American wrestling kind of grew up together.
Okay.
Because
I remember when I was a really little kid. Yeah, we had Dusty Rhodes and his bionic elbow and all that.
Right, Dusty Rhodes.
But that's mid '60s to late '60s.
The Von. I keep wanting to call them the Von Traps, but the Von Erichs was this whole legacy or lineage of wrestlers. And yeah, but then it became just real show busy. Lots of glitter and glitz and everything. And Mexican wrestling kind of has still kind of eschewed all that. It's kind of like, no, we're not putting all the glitz and the glamour. It's just two guys or four guys or four women or two men and two women or whatever in the ring, duking it out. And you're really, and you have the good guys who are fighting, technically. In fact, that's what they call them, the technicos. They're the good guys, and the bad guys were the heels who use the dirty tricks and the illegal moves and all that stuff. But it's not fake, man. It's not fake.
No.
It's real.
No.
Real staged. but it's
and
it's
tights.
Fun.
Tights and masks.
Tights. Exactly. So, but anyway,
not a bit showy.
Yeah. but the movie really captures that feeling of how big the sport is in Mexico, even to this day. So anyway, so what was number 3 on your list?
My number 3 was Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, okay.
Um, even though it's an animated film, you really get one of the best performances ever from Jack Black. I mean, his character of Poe.
Mhm.
I mean, you just get you feel it from moment one to the end of the movie. And I didn't put any of the other Kung Fu Pandas on the list because this one just really was the performance.
Yeah.
This was the performance. Him going head to head with Dustin Hoffman, uh,
Angelina
and the
Jolie.
other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely wonderful.
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane. Yeah.
He's just a big fat panda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Skadoosh.
And skadoosh. Um,
I figured it out. Skadoosh.
the and clearly the animators modeled the panda after Black. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know if it was motion capture or what technique they used, but holy cow, they captured him. You know, it's Jack Black as a panda. You
Yeah.
know, without a doubt. You know, the facial
again,
movements,
wonderful
the body
performance.
movements. Awesome job. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And was and Kung Fu Panda was on my list up until like an hour ago. But at the last minute, I did switch it with another movie. But it's a major honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful movie and a great performance. And you're right. Even though we don't see him physically, he is
Mhm.
there. The character uh, is Jack Black, and Jack Black is the character.
Again, and a wonderful cast. You know, the Furious
Yeah.
Five, Seth
Yeah.
Rogen, Lucy Liu, Jackie Chan as the monkey.
Mhm.
Just awesome cast in that. David
Yeah.
Cross as the crane.
Right,
Um, I missed somebody. I can't remember which of the characters. I can't remember who I missed.
yeah.
But
Was it Angelina Jolie? Wasn't she the snake?
you're correct. No, she was Tigress. Tigress
She was
who I
Tigress.
missed.
That's
You're
right.
Tigress
Yeah, the
was
snake
who I-
was
and
Lucy
again, it was
Liu, I
Angelina
believe.
Jolie. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Again,
Great
all-star
cast
cast.
of voices. Yeah, that is an all-star cast, absolutely. And they all did great. I mean,
Yeah.
but Jack Black definitely the star of that movie.
But yes, it's just unbelievable what they got out of Jack Black for that performance. Really. I mean, he's good, he's great, but oh my God, the layers in that character,
Like an
just
onion.
unbelievable.
I can't hear layers without thinking like an onion from Shrek now. But yeah, absolutely.
I'm like
right.
an onion, donkey,
Donkey. So that was number 3.
That was my number 3. Yeah.
All right.
My number 4 was Tropic Thunder. So we've already talked about
we
that.
talked about that, yeah. My number 4 was, interestingly enough, was Kung Fu Panda. But at the last minute, I switched it with another movie called The Holiday, which is more. It's a chick flick.
Yeah.
And normally I don't like chick flicks, but I saw Jack Black was in the cast, and I thought, that's Black.
I'll give it a look.
Chick flick. I got to check this out.
I haven't seen it, so I'm sorry to say.
Oh no, that's all right. And plus, it also has my what I always call my hetero man crush, Jude Law, in it, and Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet. So it's a great cast, and it has an interesting premise.
The fact that Jack Black ends up with Kate Winslet in that, and his name is Jack. Titanic, that Jack ends up with Rose. Again, you gotta love that.
Yeah. So, and so the premise of the movie is basically the two women. Kate Winslet obviously lives in England, and Cameron Diaz lives in California, and they've both had relationship problems. They find out that their boyfriends have been cheating on them, and so they decide, because of an advertisement, that they're going to switch switch homes for for the holidays, kind of a house exchange. And so Cameron goes to England, and Kate comes to California, where she meets her next door neighbor. It's played by Eli Wallach, who plays an Oscar-winning screenwriter who is going to receive this award, but he's suffering from yes, just like Sandy D just said. And so she's going to help him out because he's going to receive this award, but he wants to be able to walk on stage on his own, and so she helps him out. And along the way, she meets Jack Black, who is a movie composer. Okay. And so they kind of start up a friendship, but he's already in a relationship with somebody else. But eventually, he winds up dumping her for Kate, and by God, who wouldn't?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Who wouldn't?
And who would? And in the meantime, in England, Cameron meets Jude Law, his character, and so they have their relationship going on. And so, like I said, it's this romantic movie, but it's just interesting to see Black in that kind of situation where he's playing a romantic lead,
Right.
and it's actually a good little movie. And like most romantic comedies, it's highly predictable. I mean, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Sandy says, didn't they go to Blockbuster?
Probably.
It's a date.
And I have to be honest, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I don't remember everything that happened. But
I think I have seen the movie because I remember the Eli Wallach character now. So it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, probably when it came out on DVD.
And the other thing too, and it's around the same time that I had seen one of my other favorite movies, Love Actually, and so I guess I was in the mood for a for a holiday romantic movie, and so I thought, well, Black's in it. Let's see, if he's going to be the same goofy character that he always plays.
If he's going to play a Jack Black film here,
yeah, and it turned to be actually a fine movie. So it edged out Kung Fu Panda just a little bit, just for that. But I still love Kung Fu Panda though very much. All right, so number 5 on our lists.
Yeah.
So what's your number 5? Oh, me? Yeah. All right. Well, mine is a movie called Bernie.
Okay.
And one of the things that it says, a story so unbelievable it must be true. And it is. It's based on a true story. And Jack Black plays Bernie Tide, who was a mortician and a funeral assistant, an assistant funeral director in this small Texas town. Mm-hmm. And he winds up in a relationship with this widow played by Shirley MacLaine named Margaret. And at first, and it's not a sexual relationship. It's a friendship. It's a companionship kind of deal.
Right.
But as time goes on, she becomes more and more demanding, more clinging, the relationship turns toxic. And Bernie winds up murdering her. He winds up killing her. And of course he winds up, because he's a mortician, he's able to hide the body in one of the freezers at the mortuary. And whenever people keep asking, well, where's Margaret? What happened to Margaret?
It's a dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy, exactly.
Wait, can we figure out why does he kill her? I need to know.
Oh,
why does he kill her?
She becomes very emotionally abusive.
Oh, okay.
To the point where he just snaps. He can't take it anymore. She's just so clingy and so demanding and so, needy that he feels suffocated, and he literally winds up suffocating her as well, and killing her.
Is it a dramatic role? Because David was asking about Jack.
It is. It's a dramatic role, but there is an element of comedy to it. It's like Rory said, it's a dark comedy.
It's a very dark comedy.
It's a very dark
comedy.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. The reviews
Oh.
at the time said this is so not Jack Black. So I was like, I don't want to see it if it's gonna, it's gonna tarnish the good stuff that I've seen that he's been in.
No,
But
he's
now that you said Shirley MacLaine was in it and you
Shirley
described
MacLaine's
her
in it.
character, I think I want to see
Matthew
this now.
McConaughey is in it.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh wow! Why is
That's
it not?
right.
Hey.
He plays
All right.
he plays the prosecutor who sends Bernie to jail. Yeah, he does. He's discovered. He winds up going to trial, and found guilty, and sent off to jail. And it's also a bit of a trial movie. It's also a courtroom drama. But like I said,
in the poster there, he looks like he's got this kind of like self-satisfied smile, like he's pulled something over.
Yeah, exactly.
So does he become like super famous or successful because of the trial? Or
well, yes, actually, yes. See, at the beginning of the movie, we see him, and he's very well liked. He's a I want to say beloved character, but he's people like him because he's very personable. He's a nice guy, or at least everybody says he's a nice guy. Whereas McClane's character she's
universally despised.
Well, kind of. I mean, she's kind of cold and kind of distant and kind of unlikable, and the fact that they wind up having this relationship, it just seems kind of odd, and so when she's killed, or when people find out that she's been killed by this guy, of course they're surprised for one thing because they never expected that he would be capable of doing that, and besides the fact that she's so disliked that people actually almost root for him, They're
like applauding for him. Thank you. Thanks for getting rid of her.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And the real life in the real life story of this guy is he actually had a resentencing, and there were some appeals. There were appeals made, and he was actually wound up being released, and he wound up being released in the care of the prosecutor, the character that McConaughey plays. But eventually he was resentenced, and he's serving a 99 to life sentence now.
Oh, okay.
The jury said, no, this guy's guilty. We need to put him away. And
he killed somebody.
Because he killed somebody, yeah. But it's an odd story.
He killed somebody.
Yeah, but he's kind of the hero of his own journey, and so it's kind of a serious role, but kind of not. And the interesting thing about this movie, we started off with School of Rock, is that Richard Linklater, who directed School of Rock, directed this movie, directed Bernie as well. And, many years apart. School of Rock was 2003. This movie was 2011. But it's the same director. And it's set in Texas, like a lot of Linklater's movies are. But yeah, it's a good movie. I think it's an interesting performance, and from the critical reviews
and
that
my
I've
guess
seen,
is that Linklater got the movie and said only Jack Black can pull this off.
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah, and having
and
worked
make
with
this
him
character likable, even though he's a murderer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is exactly what happens in the movie.
Yeah. And apparently the real Bernie Tide. He was very much like the way Jack portrayed him, and it's done in an almost kind of mockumentary style, because they do interview some of the real town folks from the city, from the town that this takes place in, and then there's also actors playing townspeople. The movie got mixed reviews from people in Texas, in that area.
As you would imagine.
Some thought, oh yeah, that's exactly what happened. It's great, And
others were saying, why the hell did
terrible,
this
why are we
movie
making this guy a hero, and all that. So anyway. Okay, so that's the fifth one on my list.
I'm pulling a switcheroo on Renee.
I did not earlier.
My
Hey, I
number
can
5.
handle it. I can handle
She
it.
can handle it. She's got all the pictures because it is on my honorable mention list, but now it's number 5. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh,
Has to be number 5 on my list just for the fact that so ridiculously Jack Black plays a Beatle.
he plays Paul McCartney.
He plays Paul McCartney. And it's so ridiculous. I just love it. I giggled right now just thinking about it. And the drug scene, this is a mockumentary with John C. Reilly playing the main character, Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
And you've got
There's a
Jack
spoof of
Black
all those.
playing a very fat Paul McCartney. And the scene where their heads are just kind of coming together for the drug scene is just it's a cameo really, but it's just delightful.
How did they come up with this concept? I mean, it's
And I couldn't
bizarre.
in good conscience, I could not make Gulliver's Travels my number 5 pick.
Gulliver's Travels will go down as not one of his best movies.
It's not one of his best. He's got a couple of really funny bits in the movie, but that's it. So it deserves an honorable mention, but it can't be number 5. King Kong was the other honorable mention.
Oh, King Kong. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played the Carl Denham character.
Yeah. And again, he puts his Jack Black spin on it, which makes it kind of funnier, where they're getting killed by monsters and by natives. And he's like, but people are going to pay their money to go see this movie. They didn't die in vain. So that
very convincing. I thought he was really good in King Kong.
Yeah.
He
was more of a dramatic.
That almost made one of my top 5 list. But and unfortunately, King Kong, was directed by Peter Jackson, who did the Lord of the Rings movies.
Right.
It was not a critical hit, and it wasn't a hit with the audience. It's unfortunately, but I loved it. I loved this movie.
I enjoyed it as well.
Because I've seen the 1933 version, the stop motion animation, and I think what Peter Jackson did was he said, hey, you know what? If we're going to remake this movie, let's remake this movie. Instead of like the 76 version, the one with those guys.
Jeff Bridges, 77.
Thank you, Jeff Bridges
Jessica Lange.
And Jessica Lange, which totally changed the story. They said, no. It's going to be set it's going to be just like the original movie, only with better special effects, extra scenes,
World Trade Center.
The same thing, it's going to be the Empire State Building. It's going to be set in the 1930s. It's going to be an actual remake. And I appreciated that. And I thought, because you'd almost do a side-by-side comparison. And there's nods to the original in the movie. The scenes where they're filming on the ship replicate the scenes that were supposed to be the real life in the original movie, and so on and so forth. And of course, the animation of Kong, which I think was Andy Serkis.
It was Andy Serkis. He's in the movie twice, actually. He's Kong, and he's the cook from the ship.
Exactly. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So you get to see him, Andy Serkis, as an actor. He gets eaten by a giant centipede.
Yeah.
Gets consumed in front of our eyes by a giant centipede.
There's the big insects and bugs and things. Yeah, it was kind of like, okay, maybe
that's the scene that got clipped from the original.
Yeah,
it's still out there, I think, but somewhere.
Well, there's a director's cut where he restored, and it's like 4 hours long or something, and I can see why it was cut. I mean, it really didn't add anything in, but it was interesting to see.
We get it. They fell. They died. You don't have to show the bugs and stuff going after them.
But it was.
But in this, I think Jackson wanted us to see the real horrific situation when they get to this place. I mean, natives are going to kill you when you come in there into their zone, and they're not going to back away from you.
Exactly. And
I remember that being the scariest part was when the natives were killing them when they first got there.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow, they never did that in any other movie, every other
No,
monster movie. The
yeah,
natives
no,
were just
they-
like, oh, they're like scared. They would keep their distance, that kind of thing, and allow the
exactly.
white man to come in and take over.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that was pretty amazing.
right, right. Um, so yeah, it's. I saw, somebody was. I saw a thing where they were watching the original King Kong, or no, it was this version of King Kong, and they asked the question, why, if you're trying to keep this giant ape out, trying to keep him corralled,
We
why is
talked
there a
about
big
this.
giant door
There's a big giant door
where
there
he could
in the
actually
wall.
come
Why
in?
would you
Why
put a
isn't
big
there just a
giant
little
door in your
gate?
wall?
Even if you're just gonna bring somebody in to, the maiden to be sacrificed, they could have just had a little door.
And Peter Jackson just did it just because the other two did it.
Exactly.
He's like, this is ridiculous. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see if
Yeah.
anybody catches it.
Yeah.
Finally.
Exactly. But the scene where Kong is fighting the two T-Rexes was just awesome.
Yeah, going
Because
down
that was
the
in the
vines
original.
and stuff.
That was in
Yeah.
the original movie where he
Yeah.
just fights the one, and it's very well.
Right.
I mean, it's Willis O'Brien.
Pulls his jaw open.
Yeah.
Kong does that in every film. Pulls the jaw open.
Which they do a similar thing in. I think they do a similar thing in Kong Skull Island, but which is kind of a reboot. But yeah, no, so King Kong.
It's almost every Kong film.
Yeah,
where he pulls the jaw of a monster
of something. Yeah,
like a
yeah.
skull
Even in the '70s movie,
Gorosaurus,
the
King Kong
giant
Escapes, he
snake.
does it. He just pulls the jaw open.
There's a very unconvincing giant boa, a very obviously mechanical boa that he rips the jaws open before he snatches up Jessica.
The standard Kong move.
The standard Kong move. That's his move, man. That's my move. That's my finisher. Going back to wrestling, it's my finishing move.
He's at the Academy Awards accepting an award. He pulls, Jessica Lange's jaw. Sorry.
Which is why we never saw her again until she came back.
Charlton Heston. And Doug gets the award for best special effect. Ah!
Oh, not Hesty. Oh my goodness. So yeah, Kong is so it's definitely one of my honorable mentions. My other one is another small performance that he did in another movie called High Fidelity.
Yeah,
there he is. Yeah. And it didn't occur to me until we started doing not just now, but we started doing this research of the movies that he has starred with both Cusack siblings.
Yes.
And it didn't occur to me. It's like, oh, that's right. He was with John Cusack in that movie, and then Joan in School of Rock. So anyway, that's not it. But I do like his character in this movie.
Actually, High Fidelity came before School of Rock too. So
yeah. And so there's almost a crossover. I mean, it's not the same character, right. But he's also this guy who wants to be in a rock band. He's very knowledgeable of rock. He's one of those obnoxiously knowledgeable people who just, like, oh, really, you like that band? So, you should be listening to this, man. This is rock and roll. Those guys are just posers. That sort of person.
And again, that's him, Tenacious D.
Right, Tenacious D. Exactly. So anyway, so that those are my honorable mentions.
Awesome.
And no Gulliver's Travel.
And no what?
And no Gulliver's Travel. We're just gonna have to wipe that one from our minds.
There was a couple of good bits in the movie that I thought were interesting, but
good effects. Good effects too, but
not his best one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you pick what we do next time because I've been picking the last couple of times. Or actually, we had some people pick Guillermo del Toro and some other things, but
yeah.
But I'm going to let you pick this time.
Some audience.
What we'll do next week.
You decided audience. All right. Well, next week, why don't we do another actress? And I'm thinking Sally Fields.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hit the Marvel movies, David said. Yeah, we'll get to
Ah,
that one. We may do that one. I don't know. Somebody earlier suggested.
you like me. You really like me.
Yes. And Jonathan Duncan loves High Fidelity. Me too. There's a scene. In the movie that I like to quote, and I'm not going to quote it because I don't remember all the words, but where he talks about how to make the perfect mixtape. And because back in the day when people actually made mixtapes or mix CDs,
I remember that.
And I thought, yes. And so from then on, I've tried to adhere to his criteria, his philosophy of the first song needs to be good, needs to be a killer, but the second song is the one that really ramps it up, and so on and so forth. So,
It's so funny. This is terrible, actually. People are, Spider-Man on Sally Field. There's so much work here. This body of work.
There's
They all remember her as the old aunt in Spider-Man.
Is which we can almost talk about that. How Aunt May keeps getting younger in the Spider-Man movies from Maguire to Tom Holland. But yeah, Sally Field.
Yeah. I'm so sorry I cut in on your mixtape. You said the second song.
But the second song is the killer because the first one gets you into it, but the second one is the one that makes you stay.
Yeah.
And he says that, and if I remember correctly, he said that, people just kind of throw a bunch of random songs and call it a day and call it a mix. He said, no, that goes against the whole philosophy of why you make a mixtape, that it has to be thought out, that the songs there has to be a coherence and a reason why you pick those particular songs to go on this mix. So that's it.
That's wonderful that you remember that.
Yeah. It's another one of my favorite movies. Even though Cusack's character is kind of awful. He's kind of an awful.
It's Cusack's movie, yeah.
But
he's. Again, that was when we were seeing Jack Black was special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was around the time.
Hitting that record button at just the right time when your song hits the radio. Oh,
probably do the cable guy around that same time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, David, I do remember those days. I did that plenty myself as well. When the only way you heard music was on the radio, and if you wanted to record it, you got to wait for the DJ to stop talking, even though he talked all the way across, the beginning of the song, but you still hit record, and you still had that voice,
Little handheld recorders. Wow.
Yeah.
That was my childhood.
That was all of our childhood, just waiting.
Just wait. We spend our childhood waiting.
It's an actual skill.
Yes. I used to record TV shows when I was a kid because we didn't have VCRs.
Yeah.
So I used to audio record like Batman. I remember recording Batman and just funny stuff that I liked.
Yeah.
He's like, kids today will never know the struggle. That's right. That's right. It was
kids with their streaming and their Yahoos.
Everything's in their phone now.
It's in their phone. Their ticky-tackies and their spotted.
They're Ricky-Ticky-Tavies.
They're ticky-tacky.
They'll never know about having to get up and change the channel on the TV with a knob.
Exactly. Having to get in the back of the head, go change. Oh, okay. Click. And the click of that deck.
Will you be doing any Jack Black TT?
Yeah, do you do Jack Black? An impersonation of Jack Black?
He's a hard one to nail as far as voice. I used to do an impression of him doing Kung Fu Panda. Enough talk. Let's fight. Skadoosh.
That's as far as I guess.
He's actually really tough to nail.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Seth Rogen, where you got something you can really, impersonate.
Yeah, he's got that. Yeah, Rogen got that. Yeah, man.
Sounds like Randy Savage. It was a little.
Slim Jim. Going back to wrestling, yeah.
It all goes back to wrestling, to be honest. Yeah,
Start
and you
a
have to
Slim
call
Jim.
the radio station and you have to wait
What
like
was
a
that
couple hours. Sometimes you
slogan?
don't
Yes,
say it, you know.
yes,
Bite
absolutely.
into a Slim Jim? What was that?
Bite,
Logan?
bite into a Slim Jim.
Bite
Yeah,
into a Slim Jim.
He comes through the door like
I
a
see
Kool-Aid man.
yeah,
pain.
like the Kool-Aid guy. He comes crashing in, and he's got the
I feel like Randy Savage was the Kool-Aid man. It's the same idea.
Oh
It might have been.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if a
Oh,
giant
yeah.
picture of toxic red dye liquid can crash into my
Yeah.
My favorite Jack Black line was from Kung Fu Panda, where Dustin Hoffman was like, "How did you get up there?" And he says, "I was just trying to get a cookie."
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch Kung Fu Panda again.
No.
That's all there is to it.
And James Wong, I think it's James Wong, was his father. He played the I guess he's like a duck.
Yeah.
You had the noodle dream.
James Wong was everybody's father.
It's a great line. It's true. We have Manny, we have a couple reviews, right? That you wanna
I have a review. Yes, let me put my glasses on. Let me put my
Okay.
cheaters on.
So we're gonna roll a little
Oh,
thing here.
roll that
Got my
beautiful
glasses.
introduction.
Roll that beautiful Manny song footage. Here we go. Manny did that song. Manny's a musician and he wrote and recorded that.
A
This
composer.
is
He's a composer, I know. Like
This is KGZ, the home of smooth jazz.
I love it.
You're home for smooth jazz.
You need to make a record. Just make a record.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
You just reminded
All
me I need to get the Danny Elfman music from El Nacho Libre.
There you go.
I am.
There you go.
Mhm.
My favorite composer. One of them.
Yeah, Danny Elfman.
Oh,
Okay.
Micro Machines guy. Yeah, the talking guy, the guy who talks really fast. Yeah. What about him, David? Can you do an impersonation of the Micro
Fastest
Machines
reading.
guy?
Oh,
I think he's asking.
Oh, the Micro Machine guy. No.
no.
It's too fast.
No. I draw the line there. All right. So this is a review that I found on Rotten Tomatoes of School of Rock, which, interestingly enough, as much as we love, we say we love this movie, right? And on Rotten Tomatoes, we they aggregate critical reviews and an audience reviews, and the critical review of School of Rock is at 90. Right now, it's at 92%. The audience review is at 64%.
What?
And I'm like, what?
Wow.
That's crazy.
So
Why?
here's a review that I found, and it's a negative review. I just have to read this. I am genuinely baffled as to why School of Rock is so well received. Linklater's tribute vehicle to a beloved genre plays like a B-rate effort that Disney dusted off, patched together, and hastily pushed out in the wake of Freaky Friday's punkish success. The film can't decide whether to condone Jack Black's obnoxious man-child with zero consideration for folks other than himself, or not. So it sheepishly skirts around the issue. Dewey relates to each character in the context of how they will service his personal interests. He doesn't care about truly enriching others' lives or personally evolving. He just sniffs out the easiest route possible to force people to like what he likes so he doesn't have to be challenged. Remind me again how his absolute insistence is less overbearing than these children's uptight parents. Oh yeah, I forgot. Rock and roll is fun, man. Rules are for squares. There is little substance or basis for his motives other than inconsiderate abandon as a means to relive his former glory in some vein. It actually goes on and on and on, but I wasn't going to read the whole thing. That's the gist of it. And
I've got one here for Gulliver's Travels.
Wow.
which was not well received. Gulliver's Travesty. It's
I
the
love
title.
that. I love when they get really like. Love when they get snazzy with it. Yeah.
In the latest Gulliver Go Round, there have been at least a dozen variations since 1902. We've had a production of enormous, precise detail, vividly brought alive by state-of-the-art special effects, grand set design, and lavish costuming, all crushed by the uninspired casting of the slobbering one-note buffoon Jack Black in the title role.
Slobbering.
In his pudgy
Wow.
mitts, the Swiftian satire becomes another heavy-handed, predictable goofball routine of sly-eyed impishness and soft-hearted sweetness applied in the same manner as in the rest of his zany canon.
Wow.
Lemuel Gulliver sets out for the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, and then it becomes a summary.
Synopsis, yeah.
Black's cuddly bear man-child grows more tiresome with each performance, and in Gulliver's, it's lights out early with the same boorish routine, the ubiquitous media gadfly projects, whether playing a role or doing an interview. Director Rob Letterman's film does have a precious look, and he does inject some nice Python humor here and there, but it is all obscured by Black's beached whale of a Gulliver. Ooh, ouch.
Beached whale. I love how they like. I feel
Wow.
like for aspiring writers, they think that someone's going to see this and get really inspired by, oh wow, that was really well written.
I like Sandy D's response here.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Karen, we have a toll-free number for you.
A minor crime against cinema, a major crime against literature.
Wow. Wow.
Ouch.
Tell us what you really think.
That's all it says. It's just a title. There's no review. It's just a title.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
there's a lot of people here defending it too, though, as well. You know,
well,
so
yeah.
it's
people
silly and it's fun.
Not everybody's gonna, but still, yeah.
I looked up Bernie reviews, and Bernie gets great reviews. So I actually had to work pretty hard to find some negative ones, but I thought this one was really funny. This one is not that erudite. It said, if you want to waste time and money, which was easy to do here, this is the movie. It is not hilarious. And it was a waste of good talent. Just because Jack Black and Shirley MacLaine were in it does not make it good. If anything, they were probably bored. That's why they agreed to do it. Or they knew the director and owed her one, or owed him one. I won't waste my time trying to figure it out. There were no good releases yet this month. Everybody's saving them for Christmas. I would suggest a lot of wine because this is a long, long, dull ride. I left after he kills Shirley. Yawn. So he didn't even watch it. He
walked out.
Wow.
Walked out on Bernie.
Yikes.
Whew.
Weekend at Bernie's, walked out on Bernie's.
Apparently. Man, that was pretty savage.
That was savage. That was.
Yeah.
These people don't have any friends to talk to.
This is their social life.
Thank you,
know?
David.
Social life is leaving bad reviews. Yeah, apparently.
I'm sure Shirley MacLaine was devastated when she read that review. I'm sure.
I'm sure
it
broke her
bothered
heart.
them all.
Like, yeah, as she's polishing her, her Oscars. Yeah, that broke my heart.
Jack Black, yeah.
Calling up her brother Warren Beatty. Did you see that review?
They talked about it for evening after evening as they were drinking wine.
Like,
deal with it.
I don't think I'm ever going to get over that.
And smoking to dull the pain of that review.
The pain of that stab to the heart.
Yeah, right in the heart.
right in the
Et tu, Brute?
Oh my goodness.
Bad. Yeah.
So
we should do a spin-off page for Cosmos. Call it Cosmos Creative TV. Bad reviews only. I love it. Open up a whole new audience. Yeah, David, you can open it. I want you to do that. That's your calling. That would be hilarious.
There you go. Yeah.
World's worst reviews.
Oh boy.
Not everybody loved it. There's your title.
Not everybody loved it. There you go.
Not everybody loved it. I'm sure there's negative reviews of every movie that's ever been made, going back to, Birth of a Nation or something, While I appreciate the accuracy of the costumes, I must say that Lillian Gish is beneath her performance with it.
The reviews for Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story were much better. Bring on the parody.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. There was a parody of all those musician biopics that were coming out, like Ray and the one about Johnny Cash and so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Well, that's
one
exactly
after the
what they
other.
were doing. Yeah.
And,
Very tongue in cheek.
very tongue in cheek.
Poking fun
Yeah.
of those. That screams TikTok bad reviews.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And again, next week it'll be
you.
Sally Fields. You
Sally
love
Fields.
me. You really
Flying
love me.
flying on herself.
Might be a few bad reviews there.
Yeah, maybe a few. All right. Miss Yaworsky, do you want to play us off?
Yes, I would like to remind everyone that at 9 p.m. I'll be going live with Tom Cheshire for a very special positive mental attitude version edition of Burn It Down. And then immediately afterwards, Manny and I are going to be back on the third episode of Outside the Lines, and we're going to be talking about
That's what gang signs are.
this is like West Side. Okay. We're gonna do some gang. What is it? This is it. It's the we'll save that for the sixth one.
Yeah.
Although this could be my 3 and that could be your 3, double 3. Yeah, there you go.
Go.
So the third version, the third episode. Sorry, we're playing peekaboo now. We're actually playing peekaboo.
Wait a minute. How did Shallow Hal not make my list?
It was on my list for a while as well, but
Yeah.
it just got Shallow Hal. We didn't talk about Shallow Hal.
We didn't talk about Shallow Hal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Gwyneth Paltrow. Yeah. I think the problem, I did enjoy the movie. I did like the movie.
Yeah.
But I can see where people might have a problem with all the fat jokes.
I guess it's because it's not PC.
It's definitely
it's
not
Fairly
PC.
Brothers.
But
We have our first bad review in, by the way. We have our first bad review in for 2 guys. David William Meyer says, I really feel that Rory lacked any true semblance of substance, and I don't think he cares about furthering our knowledge on the topic of Jack Black at all. I have left from this experience no better off than when I joined Karen. Thank you, Karen, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Oh, great. The Karens are after me now.
Karens are sinking their teeth in. Thank you, Karen, for that.
A lot of TikTok videos.
Why did they pick on Rory?
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. They're coming for us next. Don't worry, Randy. Don't worry.
No,
First for the Rory.
We're going to be replacing ourselves. We're replacing ourselves with AI chatbots for the next episode.
That's what was it public? Manny, what did I send you? NPR. NPR did their first. Yeah, their first AI broadcast where they used.
It's completely written by and hosted by an AI. So So next time it'll just
Cosmos has got a show hosted by AI now.
We could be robots now. Maybe we're not self-aware robots. We could already be AIs. So Manny, tell us
this
what.
This is actually a deep fake. I'm actually McConaughey. Hey.
It's just like Tom Cruise.
He's actually Jack Black.
I'm Jack Black. He's Shirley MacLaine, and this is Matthew McConaughey.
I'm sure Shirley MacLaine. It twirled.
And I'm Tenacious D. Thank you for tuning in.
Anyway,
Manny,
you were saying.
Manny, tell us about what to expect at 10 p.m. tonight.
At 10 p.m., 9 Central, we have another episode of Outside the Lines, where we're going to be discussing sex.
Lots of sex.
Lots of sex. Yes.
That explains why I didn't get invited to that one.
It's going to be the popcorn issue.
No threesomes today, Rory.
No threesomes. No, but seriously, folks, we're going to be discussing some of the controversy surrounding trans issues and gender identity and things like that. So if that sounds interesting to you or you have anything to say about that, please join us at 10/9 Central for Outside the Lines.
Oh, that was wonderful. I loved that. That was definitely an AI. I'm pretty sure
that was not me speaking. That was my AI avatar.
That was and yes, David, we have 2 more shows. So if you missed it, it'll be 9 o'clock, we're doing Burn It Down with Tom Cheshire. I am the guest. We're doing a special positive mental attitude version of the show. And it's like its own little edition. And then at 10 p.m., we're doing Outside the Lines, talking about trans and gender and all the stuff that Manny just said. And the name of the title of the episode, Manny, is
People Are People.
People Are
Like
People.
the old Depeche Mode song.
I wish we could get the rights and the copyright
I
to
know,
play,
right? That would
play
be
that
awesome.
one. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you there, David. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes. I'm glad we have a fan.
That's right. And make sure you bring all of your negative reviews. All the Karens are invited. We welcome.
Karens are always invited.
Yeah.
We are not afraid of the Karen.
Of the Karen, it's like a caribou, caribou or deer. You just say like a herd of Karens is a Karen.
Is a Karen. Oh, okay.
A pride of Karen. I feel like
a pride of Karens.
An arrogant of an entitlement of Karen.
Entitlement of Karen. Awesome. There you go.
An entitlement of Karen. When you see a gaggle of them, it's an entitlement of Karen.
A gaggle of Karens. Is that what that is? A gaggle? A gaggle of Karens.
An entitlement of Karen.
An entitlement of Karen. That's right.
Entitlement.
It's just perfect. It's like a parliament of
Karens.
It's too perfect. A murder of Karens, like ravens.
Oh gosh. No murders.
A homicide.
Facebook user.
A 911 call of Karens. A totally unjustified time. 911.
We have a 411 of Karens.
They're videoing me with their mobile phone.
Oh my God. Stop it. She has a lemonade stand without a license and she's black. They're having a cookout at a park. Oh my gosh.
911's a joke in Yo Town.
Oh, thank you. You got it before I did. 911's a joke. That's right. Gosh, what a great song. Everybody wants to know what that is. Google it right now.
Everything in there. We got a Public Enemy reference. What the heck?
It's been like the best. This is the tarantula of. This is the
Show us on the.
Show you. Where did the Karen call you?
Show us on the doll with a Karen.
Where the Karen tickled you.
Tickled you.
Show me on the keypad where the Karen dialed you.
Oh my God.
All right, everybody.
Clint Eastwood to come in and clean up the situation.
That's right.
I can fix this.
Where's Scott Eastwood when you need him?
It's too soon, Manny. Too soon.
I'm sorry.
Scott Eastwood. I love how Scott Eastwood.
Didn't mean to traumatize you there, Renee.
We've been stood up by better, Scott. We've been stood up by. We won't even tell people what Larry the Cable Guy did.
Yeah.
We won't even tell you what
Not
Larry.
even go there. Same go with old Larry. Yeah.
Larry,
you want me on your show?
Larry was a little needy.
You want to get her done?
You got to pay me to be on your little talk show there.
Yeah, we did not get her done with Larry.
Didn't get her done. Nope.
Couldn't afford it.
I'm
I feel like it was
I'm a big star. I'm Mater on Cars. I'm a big star here.
Hey, Lightning.
Mater.
Hey.
Don't you want Mater?
Don't you want Mater?
Yeah, ka-chow.
It was so wrong, Larry. That was wrong. You knew it was wrong.
Larry, I thought you were part of one of the people. One of the people.
I thought, yeah, you had a southern.
Let Hollywood go to your head, man. What?
You fake a southern accent. You're supposed to be one of us.
Right. I fake a southern accent.
In his defense, at that time, he wasn't working.
Oh.
It was right after the pandemic, so he wasn't working. So he
needed to. He had some bills. It's all right.
Had some bills to pay. Well, okay.
We've all been there, Larry. We've all been there. And Scott, is a male model, and that just explains, but that's all you need to know.
I don't even think we were talking to the real Scott Eastwood, to be honest. Now,
probably.
I look back and I'm like, you know what? That was probably just a guy yanking us.
I don't think so, because he said, "Do you know what it takes to book me?" He was kind of. It was an entitlement of Karen's vibe that I got from him. It was a little bit of an entitlement. An entitlement of Scott's.
Scots.
An entitlement of male models. I love male models. I have a lot of friends who are male models. I don't want to be rude.
Wait, here's my blue steel.
There you go. No, Sandy, I apologize. We are going to have a male model on Journeys. We don't have the date yet. M knows who I'm talking about. But
One Cosmos, no.
yeah,
Chris Duell.
he's gorgeous. Yeah, Chris Duell is pretty gorgeous. Somebody tag Chris Duell. We love Chris Duell. I'm wearing a Chris Duell shirt. What are the chances? Women are just, the thing is that women are always kind of wearing a. Sandy and M, can you back me up here? Aren't we all kind of just always wearing Chris Duell stuff? Look at Rory's face. Look at Rory's face. Okay.
I'm wearing his underwear, by the way.
Yeah.
Chris Duell's underwear.
Chris Duell's underwear. No, I mean,
you could throw it like Tom Jones.
Underwear.
You could throw it at like Tom Jones. You could throw it and.
I'd wear a cap, but they're all pink, so I.
Oh my gosh. Okay, good night, everybody. There's too many great. Good night, everybody. I can't get everyone's comment up there fast enough. I apologize. If I didn't put your comment up, it's just because I couldn't keep up. See, she's wearing, any woman at any time is wearing at least one Chris Duell merchandise item. I was wearing a fanny pack earlier.
He's good at merchandising.
Got a lot of merchandise. Yeah.
And I have to commend you for actually admitting that you were wearing a fanny pack, by the way. That's brave.
Yeah, but nobody. It's just between you and me. It's just between you and me. Look, she said, "Damn it, Ray." Because I'm
just keep your fanny pack to yourself, lady.
Out and proud. Fanny pack.
The fanny pack. How is it that the hoodie is cool, but the fanny pack is not cool? Because it's just, you need the.
Because it's a fanny pack.
You need a pouch, but how am I going to carry stuff? How am I going to carry stuff?
That's why you carry a purse.
Okay.
Girls throw everything in their purse.
All right. There you go. Yes, and Cosmos has merch. Yes. Thank you, MM, for reminding us. Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Cosmos
but when you buy everything Chris Duell has, then you can come to Cosmos. I am very brave. Thank you.
Renee has no shame to her game.
Your bravery is appreciated.
I
wear a fanny pack.
Did we do that at the same time? Did we do that at the same time?
Wait. I've got way too many fingers going.
How do I get my fanny pack?
No, you gotta do Wipeout, the Pee Wee Herman. Do. And he goes,
oh, no, that's
he just points at his genitals.
Tequila. That's tequila, yeah.
Tequila.
Why was he pointing at his genitals? I never understood that. What was that? Yeah, what is that? He's showing us?
It was just general. It just happened to be.
No, he was pointing at his genitals and his butt.
Man, I was trying to make this PG. I was trying to make it PG, but it's too late now.
Can you ask Paul Rubens on the show? I want to ask him that question.
Can we have a Cosmos fanny pack?
I just never got a response. I would love to get him or Cassandra Harris on the show.
Yeah.
It's Elvira, but
Elvira, yeah.
They're just
Paul Rubens is great. I would pee my pants if Paul Rubens came on. He to me is like that would be a huge deal.
I think I got a better shot at getting Dice Clay on the show. I know you like Dice Clay.
Damn it, I want Paul Rubens. All right. Let's talk about your big butt.
A fortune teller actually told me many, many years ago that I would meet him someday.
Paul Rubens?
Yes.
Well.
What? Okay, wait, that is so specific and bizarre.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Paul Rubens.
That just seems so.
Reach out to Jim.
That seems so random. Well, you know what? It's your destiny. It's Kismet. I think you have no choice but to now try and book him, Rory.
All right.
That's right.
All right. Let's go get him. Paul Rubens, we're coming to get you. Wherever you are, we love you.
In a nice way.
I want to thank you all for inviting me on your show.
We're not crazy or anything.
Pretty good jokes lately.
I'm not great. Okay. Good night, everybody. We will be back.
Nino Giamo. Oh, is that Uncle Nino?
Back.
This fucking guy over here. This fucking guy. I'm telling you.
Oh, yes, Nino.
Strawberries.
Strawberry. I'm drinking my drinking my wine. My strawberries.
Cut my shirt off.
Yeah, you got to be topless if you're gonna have Uncle Nino around. You got to be topless. There's no way around it. All right, people, we're really leaving now. I promise. Go get dinner, everyone, and then come on back for 9 o'clock and then 10 o'clock too. Good night, everybody.
An
night.
hour and 8